Okay, got it.
Hi, Rita.
Hi there, Sheba.
Welcome to Soul Brews with Sheba. I'm so delighted to welcome you on Coffee and Soul. Thank you so much for making the time.
My pleasure. Happy to be here. My
Wow.
first time on any kind of show. So I'm very delighted.
I'm super happy that you did make the time, Rita.
Thanks.
Um, you have your cup of coffee ready with you?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'm just also going to pour myself my cup.
Yeah. What kind of coffee do you drink?
Uh, I normally have black and different kinds. Sometimes Mark's coffee, of course, from Oroville,
Hmm.
and sometimes I take blue tokai, some of the estates coffee. I like normally a medium roast or a
Yeah.
light roast. I don't really like too much dark roast. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers,
I like.
Rita.
Cheers, Shiva. Good to see your face after such a long time.
Good to see you too. Mm. Ah. So can I just ask you to hold this cup of coffee in between your palms,
Mm-hmm.
and if you can just sit back
Sit
and
back.
relax. Yeah, and just relax. Wonderful. And just close your eyes.
Hmm.
And the feeling of coffee, the warmth of the cup,
Yeah.
and the smells wafting the fragrance. See if there's anything that comes up for you, Rita. Any feelings or images. Thoughts.
Mm. Basically, I get the feeling of the South Indian coffee brew,
Yes.
I had spent about 3 weeks at, I forget the name of the hotel in Chennai, doing a course on a whole lot of things, hotel management, sales, and marketing. And they had in their coffee shop, this coffee brew, and I got addicted to the South Indian coffee.
Wow.
With Yeah, with the result, can't find it anywhere in Calcutta.
Mm, mm, mm.
Every time we used to travel from Chennai to Pondicherry,
Yeah.
Roma was not much of a coffee lover,
Yes.
but
Yes.
she would definitely make a stop for me to have my South Indian brew. And you'll be surprised, there is no South Indian brew available in Pondicherry.
Really?
Yeah, I don't find it unless you go to, what was that restaurant?
Surguru.
One of no, the old one where they used to sell. It's a very old one. I don't think that it's there anymore. That's the only place used to get it. And I used to say, how strange we are in the south of India are not able to get a South Indian brew.
I know. That's very interesting. I'm really surprised at that. Okay. All right.
Yeah. But that is my actually favorite coffee.
Okay.
And of course, then there's the Starbucks, and then there's I drink David off.
Yes.
Anything, but nothing beats the South Indian. Coffee,
Yes. I know. I know.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. That's true. It's true. Yeah. So yeah. So Rita, linking in from what you were just saying, you talked about going to Pondicherry. There was a mention of Roma. I'd love to hear a little more about, and my viewers, to know a little more about you and your journey thus far. Uh, how has it been for you? I know you worked in education since forever, and take us through it. Take us through your journey, your highs and lows, and
Well,
some.
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
sure. I wasn't always in education.
Mm.
Um, I started out in the office as a. First, let me tell you, in our family, the kind of middle-aged conservative family that I come from, believe it or not, girls were not allowed to work. So
Wow. How did you escape that? Wow. Yeah.
yeah, and then my father was very keen on education.
Mm.
And when I finished my graduation, and I said, I was a bit restless, wasn't very that bright academically. I mean, I did get through. And I said, I don't want to study anymore.
Mm.
He said, okay, if you don't want to study, we'll get you married. I said, oh my goodness, that doesn't seem like a good option. So I said, no, 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 I don't want to get married as yet. So he always used to say, teaching is a very noble profession. Uh, so I joined classes for teachers
Mm.
training.
Mm.
Actually, I was quite devoted to my father. To me,
Mm.
he was the world.
Mm.
And he and I were always at loggerheads about everything. He
Mm.
would sit at the head of the table and I'd be at the foot of the table and we'd argue
Mm.
and butt heads because I wanted to question every diktat that
Mm.
he threw at us. And one of them was that, teaching is a noble profession, so I enrolled for teaching.
Right.
And I got good grades, but then I took up a job.
Mm.
Strangely enough, this place called Hindi High School.
Okay.
And I was there for 15 days.
Okay. All of 15 days. Yeah. Go ahead.
Talking that much,
Yeah.
just couldn't do it, is to come home. And my dad would be very happy to see me and say, how was your day? And I'd say, oh. I said, okay, have a cup of tea, then we'll talk. 2 weeks is all I could manage because it was a boys' school.
Mm.
They were so rowdy and they would throw these paper plates at me.
Mm.
There were 45 students in my class. I hadn't the pockets.
Mm.
And I was this 118-pound girl who had never worn a sari, and I was in my sari trying to be very teacherish and all that. Didn't work. And then when I resigned, of course, my results hadn't come out as yet.
Yes.
In the meanwhile, they gave me a job. When I resigned and went to the principal, he said, but why are you leaving?
Mm.
And I told him something very rude. I said, आपके स्कूल में अमीर लोगों के बदतमीज लड़के पढ़ते हैं. That was Mr. Pandit. Pandit was brother of one of the famous actors in Hindi movie, Rajkumar.
Oh, okay.
So, and I got a whole, in those days, teacher's salary was 250 bucks.
Yeah.
So whatever was my due, I got that salary and I walked back and I picked up little gifts for the entire family, dad, mom, sister, brothers, servants, friends. In those days, you could buy, there was this showroom downstairs, Bombay Dyeing.
Mm.
Used to sell beautiful saris for 5 rupees.
My God, that's amazing.
Amazing. I'm talking about 1965,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
You were born probably.
No, just about. Just about before.
So I came home and I told my family that I quit and these are their gifts. And my father was very upset.
Mm.
He says, you will amount to nothing.
Mm.
You understand Punjabi?
I understand Punjabi. Of course I do. I'm a Punjabi. Yes.
Yeah. He tells me, ਅੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਸੂਨ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਰੋਏਂਗੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵਿੱਚ.
So translate it for my viewers.
Meaning you'll really have weep bitter tears in the future because you'll amount to nothing.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So that kind of lodged in my heart very deep.
Mm.
It hurt me quite a bit also.
Mm.
So I said, okay. Then I started doing law. That also he was very interested in astrology.
Okay.
And he had these friends who would come and discuss horoscopes and all.
Yes.
And of course, I was very argumentative.
Right.
Thanks to, Perry Mason and all the other books that I used to read.
So you used to read a lot, Rita?
A lot. We had a Oxford bookstore library over here on Park Street, and we had a weekly membership of 5 books.
Okay.
So sister and I would drop there because we're not allowed to move out of the house so freely. So to go to the library was a very good excuse.
Right, right.
We trot off to the library, change our 5 books, finish it in 3 or 4 days' time, both of us. But since we were such good customers and we were so close to the house, Michael was the librarian there. He would let us change our books every 4th or 5th day instead of waiting for the mandatory week.
Okay, okay, yes.
Okay, so this led the astrologer and my father decide that since I was so argumentative, I should try for law.
Okay.
Yeah. So I enrolled for law classes. And then I said that I have to show my father that I can do something. So we had a very dear friend, my sister's friend, Aisha. She used to work downstairs below this flat in airlines called Scandinavian Airlines.
Yes, SAS?
Yeah, SAS. So I told her, I said, I want to take up something. She said, take up anything. Doesn't matter. Don't go for the. She was quite a mentor for me. So we looked at these ads and I said, I'm not qualified for anything. And the one thing that I'm qualified for, I don't want to do it. So I found a job as a receptionist or telephone operator.
Okay.
So I told Aisha, but I don't know how to operate the telephone. So she said, doesn't matter. You come down to my office and I'll ask the girl to teach you. So and then she told me there are 2 types of boards. One is cordless, one is with cords and one is with levers.
Okay.
You go for this interview, you learn the lever system, and if they ask you which board have you got experience in, whatever they have, you say, I don't have experience in that, I have it in the other. So the whole career is founded on a lie, on a fib. And for a person who hates telling lies, who sticks by the truth so much, so they asked me, can you operate the board? I said, what board do you have? He says, we have the cord board. I said, no, I can learn it. I have practice on the lever board. They gave me the job. Because first and foremost, they couldn't believe that a person from my kind of family would want to come out and work. Those were different days.
Of course, yes.
So I got with that. And that was, I think, I turned 21 on 16th and I started work on the 25th of January.
Wow.
1965. So I came home and told my dad, I've got a job and I'm going to pay you back everything you spent on me. So he laughed.
Yeah.
And then I refused to take any money from him. I wanted to pay my way on this wonderful, marvelous, huge salary of 585.
585.
Wow. 585 rupees. You should have seen me in those days. I had 24 pairs of sandals matching every outfit because the Chinese shoemaker used to make one pair for 20 bucks.
You were in Calcutta, right?
I was in Calcutta always.
Yeah, the Chinese shoemakers. Yeah.
So different colored sandals. And they hired me. I went for the interview in the sari, but then I switched to salwar kameezes.
Yeah.
Because I still couldn't manage the sari very well. It was a British company called India Foils.
India Foils, yes. Okay. Yeah.
With its main office in UK called Venesta Foils. And I was the baby of the organization. So I was there for 2.5 years. And then I switched to Bank of America. And in Bank of America, I was there 4 years. I asked for a transfer to Delhi when my father had a construction job.
Okay.
He was a civil engineer and contractor, had his own company for construction, electrification,
Mm,
interior design,
okay.
you know.
Mm.
Yeah. So he got a job in Delhi and he was there for 6, 8 months. And I told my people in Bank of America, Calcutta, I want to be transferred to Delhi.
Mm.
So they transferred me to Delhi. Unfortunately, 6 weeks later, his contract was over and he came.
Oh,
Anyway, I took up in one of those, what do you call it, Barsatis
yes, yes,
in Defense Colony.
yes.
Put up home there. Then teamed up with another friend,
Mm.
Parsi girl called Katie.
Mm.
And from Defense Colony, we moved to, what is that, Army quarters?
Princess Park?
No,
So,
forget now, where all the Army quarters are there. Punjabi Bagh?
is it Punjabi Bagh? All right. I'm not sure. I'm not.
Something.
Dhaula Kuan maybe.
No, next to that market. Anyway, it will come to me.
Okay,
So there was with Colonel Sen and his wife Reni.
okay.
I stayed with them for 3 months. Then I gave up that job after some time, and I was looking around for another job.
Mm.
And of course, we had to go to the post office to make phone calls.
Mm.
There were no cell phones
Mm.
and letters. And then my father told me, "You better come home." He didn't know I had quit my job.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And while I was looking for a job, I found another job.
Mm.
In the meanwhile, my dear friend Roma called up my office to talk to me, and they said that she's quit.
Okay.
So she whispered in my sister's ear, she's quit her job. So we don't know what she's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she told father. Father wrote me a letter saying, "You better come home. Don't force me to come and get you." So I said, okay, that would be quite, inglorious to be
Yeah.
dragged back.
Right.
Packed my bags and I arrived in Calcutta. And who should greet me at the station is Roma Hira. And she was very close to my sister at that time. My sister was a beautician. She was running this huge clinic called Mademoiselle in
Okay.
Russell Street, Calcutta. And Roma used to hang around there. I had met her because when I was in Bank of America, Calcutta,
Mm.
I had approached her to come and run our canteen. She was always interested in food.
So let's take a second to talk about Roma Hira, because that's something that you and I have so much in common.
Yeah, well, this segment is nothing but Roma.
Yeah.
When I got off the train and I saw her, I said, "Why the hell did you tell everybody that I quit my job?" So she was quite bashful and taken aback. She said, "Well, I thought that, for the sake of the family, they should know what you're up to."
Mm.
So I said, okay. Anyway, I came home. Then Roma and I hung around in my sister's beauty parlor.
Mm.
She had a slimming section, a hairdressing section,
Mm.
a facial section, a sauna section. It was huge. It was a 3-bedroom flat which was converted.
Wow.
One of its kind in Asia at that time.
Amazing. Mm.
Yeah. So we hung around over there. My sister worked and Roma and I just lounged around. Okay, Romy, give me a pedicure. She was good at it.
Okay.
Okay, just for the heck of it. Then I had a lot of blackheads. So I was the guinea pig for
Right.
everything.
Right.
And Roma and I started hanging around. And then suddenly my sister said, "Hey, excuse me, I'm there too. What are you two doing? You're off to the movies, you're off to lunch, all during the time. Because she used to get to work at 8 in the morning
Mm.
and come back after 6.
Mm.
Just across the street.
Mm.
The days we made a program, both of us would jaunt off to go and see a movie. We'd have lunch. And in Sky Room, and then we come home at tea time and find that she's already home. And then I also discovered that Roma was literally living in our house. She just home to sleep. First month or so, I watched this and I asked my sister, I said, what's happening with this girl? Oh, she's got a terrible time with her mother. She's not quite normal. And so she spends the day with us. Because first couple of weeks I saw she came for lunch, then she came for tea with Sudha. Then in the evening, she came back for dinner. Didn't know what was happening. Once I got used to it, I was free and she was free. So for 6 months, we loitered all over Calcutta. Till Mrs. Birla came one day and offered me this job in Birla building. And then Roma and I started hanging out. Sky Room was our favorite. And she was, I think at that point, 80 kilos only. And very light on her feet. You know? And she loved shopping. Shopping in the sense vegetable, fruit, and non-veg. She'd pick up a teller and go off to the market every morning, which I found fascinating. I'd never been to the market.
I can just imagine Roma doing it. For all those who are listening in and all the viewers, Roma Hira was a dear friend and an Aurovilian, and many of you know Roma's Kitchen, and that was one of the institutions that was in Auroville. And Roma passed, when was it, Rita? About a year back, a little over a year.
25th of April 2020.
Yeah, 2020. And she's someone who's very dear. And if this conversation is also becomes a tribute to Roma, so be it, because for both Rita and me, Rita much more, because Rita's, so much of her life with Roma.
But actually, I'm totally bereft with her gone. I don't know what to do with myself. And I have to really sort of pull myself out and say, no, I must do this. But it's not the same without. Roma, and
so going to the market, jaunting off to the market.
Then I started working for the Birlas, and we were setting up their offices, Birla building, 16-story building.
Wow.
I would go and collect samples, and Roma would help me, and then she would come into my office and put all this. And every time we went out together, people would recognize me because Roma was with me. They'd seen this fat person. I said, Romy, I'm dressed in trousers and t-shirt. They shouldn't be able to recognize me. It's because of you. Why don't you lose weight? So she used to tell me, you should be grateful if I'm not slim, because then nobody will look at you.
Oh, that's Roma.
Yeah.
That's Roma.
And every time I told her, slim down, she said, no, I'm far too beautiful. If I become slim, nobody's going to give you any patta. I said, oh, so you're staying fat for my sake.
Oh.
And then decided, we had, I don't know if you ever met Prem Malik.
No, I've heard so much about him, but I've never met him, no.
Roma was friendly with his niece, Meenakshi.
Okay.
And she met him. He was working with, I think, Lipton's.
Okay.
No, ITC or whatever, one of these, companies.
Was it Unilever?
Hindustan Lever, yes.
Hindustan Lever, yes.
He quit at the age of 52 or 53 to go to Auroville. So he used to come and go. And we used to meet him and run around, wherever he was. He usually used to come for fundraising. Auroville and Ashram were at loggerheads, and Auroville had no money. So that was his job. Then he persuaded Roma to go live in Oregon. I made several trips with Roma
Mm,
time, and she met up with Dipti and Arjun.
mm,
So I had gone to, in between, I had gone to Europe and America for about 4 months.
mm,
She used to write to me that she's found this beautiful place, and when I come back, I must go. I came back after 4 months, joined work. I'd taken special leave for that. And 15 days later, she brings these tickets and says, "We are going to Oregon." I said, "I don't have the face to ask for leave."
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, asked, but Mr. Birla was very kind.
Mm, mm,
So he gave me leave, and then we went to Oroville and used to live in Pondicherry.
yeah.
Oroville had 2 or 3 houses over there. It was
How
like
was Oroville at that time, Rita?
Oroville was, I mean, would be what?
Physical space and people and
Oroville was absolutely barren. They had planted a lot of trees.
mm,
There were a lot of people. There were some community. Aspiration was one community. And then Oromadel, Pashi Kapoor had one,
mm,
which was like, when you go to buy a house and they have one flat setup
yeah,
to show you how it looks, the end
yes,
product.
yes.
So everybody used to go there to see, okay, this, they had no electricity, they had water, they had no, of course, TV and telephone were out of the question.
Mm,
Then they had certain things called huts,
mm.
and some of these huts were on a treetop.
The Keat huts? What are the Keat
Yeah,
huts?
yeah.
Mm,
And Dipti and Arjun, no, Arjun came much later. Dipti and her family were there in Pondicherry.
mm,
Mamaji had a flat in Pondicherry.
mm,
So we used to stay in this guest house.
mm,
Krishnaji used to be over there and move around. Then finally, Roma decided to shift there.
mm.
And the craziest thing is that Mamaji told her that you will never shift because Rita will not let you shift
Mm,
because of your attachment. So I told him, I said, it's not so.
mm,
It's not that I'm holding her back. She has to take a decision.
mm,
She has to decide whether she wants to leave the city, leave the flat, go and make a home over there. It's up to her because I'm always going to be there. So we decided that I would stay back, look after her flat, and she would go. And she started working in Aspiration
mm.
for 400 rupees as the, what do you call it there?
Maintenance.
Maintenance. And her cigarette expenses were 800.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said, Tata, what are you going to do? No, no, I have to do this. Then she used to cook for the community.
Yeah.
Then she started in Puttus. Through Puttu, she started this service of giving food, catering.
Mm,
People would come and collect their food and go. She had a marvelous time,
mm,
marvelous time. And of course, every time I visited, at least in my 10 days trip, 4 days would be such where she's sitting and crying. What the hell is the matter? Look at them. Look at these babies. They hardly get anything to eat. I'm going to cook mutton and rice for them. I said, cook, who's stopping you?
mm, mm.
So 5 kgs of mutton and rice made for all the community bachas to eat. She was such a softie.
Yeah.
Absolute soft. And she moved around from Aspiration to somewhere else. Then in Oromadel. We stayed in Nami's house.
Mm, mm,
And then Oromadel, all my
mm,
visits. Then in between, I became diabetic. So
mm,
we had to carry my insulin in a flask. And first time when I went there, she had to ask the we were staying with us.
You
Of the
stay with us then.
Almaty community, we have stayed in all the houses,
Okay.
turn by turn.
Yeah, yeah.
And when I became insulin dependent, she used to give me my insulin shots.
Mm.
Till my sister went to the UK and brought what do you call insulin gun, which is nothing. It's a stupid little contraption
Mm.
with the syringe loaded over there,
Mm.
and instead of poking yourself, you just shot.
Mm. Mm.
There is an aluminium thing like
Mm.
because most people don't have the courage to poke themselves.
Correct.
So I was going around with this, and one evening I was at some party or the other, and I needed to take my evening shot. So I went to the toilet and took out my gun, and I was trying to shoot myself full of insulin. When the bloody thing blew out,
Oh my God. Oh my God.
so fortunately the cylinder, the syringe didn't break. So I picked it up and I said, I'm fed up of this gun nonsense. Picked up, pressed the thing, and poked myself. And that was the end of that gun. After that, every time Roma used to get on my diabetes, don't do this, don't eat this, take your medicine, take your shot, walk. She was like obsessed with. And one day I told her, I said, this is my diabetes. I will manage with it. You don't have to worry. That was that. Then, of course, she moved to Dana. And she worked with me. I also moved to Pondi.
Yes, yes.
So she left in 88. And in 92, I was visiting her. If Kapoor was on his motorcycle, we were visiting Sunana Nini Pandeen. And he said, Roma, where is that friend of yours you keep talking about? Let's get her here. I want a person in my factory.
This is Dilip Kapoor of Height Design, right?
That's right. So,
Yeah.
So she told him, here she is, she's sitting right behind me. So he said, would you be interested in shifting? I said, yeah, why not? And then he came to see me in Dana and talked about his factory. I said, listen, I have no idea what is leather or leather products. All I can give you is integrity. He said, that's all I want, because there were a lot of thefts and stuff going on. So lo and behold, I shifted to Pondicherry. Got a beautiful duplex house on Roma Roland Road. Yeah. And Roma used to go to the market and get all my non-veg stuff in different portions. This is for one person, this is for 4 persons. This is if you have guests, and stock up my freezer and push off every day at about 10 o'clock at night. So she was working with this Ensos de Oroville. It was called Ensos de Oroville at that time.
Okay. No, it was not Maroma. It was Ensos de Oroville.
Changed name later. So she was working there. She'd come over in the evening. We'd have dinner together, roam around. Go to Sunday market. Did you know of a thing called Sunday market?
No, I didn't know.
Okay, Nehru Street used to have a Sunday market every Sunday morning. The whole of Oroville and youngsters from Pondicherry would end up over there.
Really?
Cheap materials, cheap materials, and then T-shirts and shorts, all kinds of stuff, sequined and everything all the youngsters wanted. So every Sunday we go and buy, and then every trip I came to Calcutta, I brought gifts, sequin T-shirts, sequin blouses, and parallels, and shirts for the boys and all that. So that was one of our major highlights. Roma and I used to walk, up and down.
Wow. Yeah.
Up and down.
Amazing.
And every time I think of her when she was mobile, I say to myself, those were really the days.
Yeah.
Those were really.
Yeah, it was before her body caught up with her, right?
And her body caught up last couple of years, actually. And I was working with Dilip, and then he made a proposal to Roma to come and do the marketing, domestic marketing. So she joined over there, and she used to travel, setting up new shops all over India. And then, of course, there was a demand for the material bags and all. And I was the general manager. And I would tell her, I'm sorry, I can't give you. And then we would have arguments and all. And Dilip would sit there and tell everybody, see, they're best friends. See how they're fighting? They're best friends. Dilip, what's wrong with you? No, he says, I love to see you fighting. This fighting thing became quite the thing, because we used to, Jan used to have a house opposite her. Have you met Jan Dime? Jan, Baba's mother.
No, I haven't met. I haven't met her.
So she was very close to Roma. So there was only one room. Then I moved to Pondi. Roma had only one room, a bathroom and kitchen, with a small veranda, little sliver. Then, of course, the veranda was extended. Jan would ring up. By then, telephones had come.
Okay.
Yeah. TV had also been installed. Jan would ring up. Have you fought yet?
I guess nothing makes a chemistry more evident than a fight, you know.
Yeah.
The way the dynamics of the fight are very different if there exists a great chemistry. So
I
yeah.
have no idea. Even later on, even Namrata would bring up every morning. Have you fought yet, darling? I said, no, not yet. It's only the third day. Yeah, but usually 3 days is the limit. What we used to fight about? Just argue. Just argue. I used to nag her. She used to tell me to cut out. Then if I said, okay, I'm not coming to the kitchen today, there's nothing else for me to do other than go to Pondicherry or go to the kitchen. But if I said, okay, I'm going to Pondi, so she said, okay, I'll hire you a car, went to Pondi. Within 1 hour, where are you? What are you doing? What have you shopped? How much money have you spent? Are you coming back or not? So, yeah, I'm coming back. Who have you invited to lunch? Have you invited anybody? Because that was the only place I could meet everybody.
Right.
Invite them to lunch, invite them to dinner. And the whole pattern went on and on.
Rita, while we're talking so much about this, do you have Roma's picture somewhere?
Yeah.
Can you bring it in?
All over my house.
Can you just bring it in? And there she is. There's Roma, looking so beautiful.
A lovely smile, eh?
Lovely smile. Lovely smile.
I talk to her every day.
Yeah.
Normally, when she used to travel, she used to travel with mother's picture, put it on the bedside. When I travel, most probably I'm going to have to carry Roma's picture. So she's become synonymous with mother for me.
Yeah.
It's on the picture, and I wish her good morning, Fata. How's the day going to be? You know?
Yeah.
And at times I say, why don't you call me? You know?
Yeah.
She used to call so often.
There are times I think you guys used to talk at least 10 times a day.
5 times, so it's easy.
See?
Morning.
Yeah.
Morning before I went to work. Then at lunchtime. Then when she returned from Maroma. And then before going to the kitchen. And coming back from the kitchen.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about the time she saved my life?
No, tell me about that.
Well, one day a friend had visited from the States and we met up for coffee in Flurries, my sister Shukti and I. And I'm very fond of chocolate brownies. So I had a brownie with my coffee. And then when we finished, in the evening, I told my sister, I don't want to eat too much for dinner because my sugar is high. So she said, no, you've only had a brownie. I said, even so. So I took a shot and I didn't eat enough. So I went home. I used to stay in Roma's apartment in those days. So I went over there and as was normal, Roma called from the kitchen,
Mm.
and she found me sounding very strange.
Mm.
So she said, "Why are you sounding like that?" I said, "No, why?" So, suspecting that something was wrong,
Mm.
she rang up my family. No, so she kept me talking on the phone,
Mm.
and in the meanwhile made a call to the family,
Mm.
telling them that somebody should go across. And knowing the flat, it has a very heavy iron bar across it.
Mm. Mm.
So she kept telling me, um, open the door.
Mm.
And by then, I think my sugar was dropping.
Mm.
Just telling her in a sing-song voice, open the door.
Mm.
Why should I open the door? She said, just go and open the door. Because she knew they couldn't break in the door with
Mm.
that iron rod over it.
Mm.
Subsequently, I don't know what happened because I must have passed out.
Mm.
My brother, my nephew, my bhabhi, poor thing, she had a bad knee. She could
Mm.
barely walk. She
Mm.
dragged herself from Stephen Court to Middleton Road. Arrived, I believe they picked me up, loaded in the car, took me to Bellevue, and did it. Next thing I know is that I hear my gynecologist, Rajalakshmi, saying, "Oh, she's coming around." And I open my eyes. I see her. I see my sister in her nightie,
Mm.
almost distraught.
Mm.
I said,
Mm.
"Why? What happened? What am I doing here?"
Mm.
She said, "They got you in with your sugar was only 20."
Oh my God. Oh
So
my God.
if Roma hadn't
Yes, pick that up. Yeah.
it up and traveled all the way to Dana and made sure that I was talking and made sure,
Mm.
obviously she got to me. I undid the door
Mm.
and opened it for them. So
Mm.
now this is a regular joke with Deepti or June, Roma and me.
Mm.
So then he said, well, Arjun will come and say, let's talk about open the door.
Ah,
My
oh
God.
God. Yeah. Yeah.
Roma, I mean, she took such good care of me
Mm.
without my realizing.
Mm.
Diabetes, then sometimes at one time we didn't have a car and I was stuck a couple of times in the office because of heavy rain.
Mm.
So, any difficulty, I just pick up the phone, let me ask Roma. Romy, I can't get home. There are no taxis available. I can't get out. Okay, I'm coming.
Mm.
Hop into a cab. I don't know how. Get over there, pick me up, bring me home.
Amazing. Amazing.
And she used to do. And then she had this eye for clothes also. Although she always wore this long sleeve
Yeah.
shirts, it became short sleeves later on.
Yeah.
Suddenly I'll find, she'll say, I saw a very beautiful sari.
Mm.
I said, yeah. She said, I picked it up for you. And invariably it would be the most gorgeous thing I've ever worn.
Mm.
So
Mm.
she'd collect these saris for me. And anytime I got dressed, she said, okay, will this do? Mhm.
Mm.
Ironing is not done properly. Then she said, take it off and iron it. She's very particular about ironing.
Mm. Amazing. Amazing.
And nowadays, in the last 4 or 5 years, when all her suits were sent for ironing and then the folds, I knew how particular she was. I would sit down and iron out all the folds from her trousers and shirts
Mm.
and hang it up. Will this do, Roma? Oh, there's a little bit of crease over there. And it's like, okay, I'm taking it out. But I was also quite mean.
Amazing. Hmm?
I was also quite mean to her. I'd get on her case about losing weight.
Mm.
And now I realize how difficult it was
Mm.
to move. A lot of people indulged her, like Saudamani would say, no, no, Roma, don't get up. I'll get this for you. I would sit there. I said, no, I'm not getting up. You get up and go to the dining table and get it.
Mm.
It looks so sad. Cocker spaniel eyes. Please,
Mm.
please.
Mm.
Finally, I'd give in and go. But I realized that was quite mean.
I think that was your attempt to try to get her to move, no, Rita?
I said, only 5 minutes, babe. Get up
Mm.
5 minutes.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll promise. She promised. She never said no to me. I'll
Mm.
promise. Then I'll get on the phone and say, have you put on more weight? No, I haven't. I said, get on the weighing machine. No, no, I only do that on Monday morning. I said, okay, you do it tomorrow morning for me. I was so obsessed with her weight. Actually, that's what killed her, her weight. And last trip she made over here, we had to take her to the court for her plant, to get a proper wheelchair. She needed a bigger wheel, and who was going to push her? And then when we came back, I told her, I said, Romy, next time you come, you have to get somebody with you. Earlier, I used to hire from the center. We didn't need that much. By lunchtime, we would release them because I'd be there home by 5 o'clock. And in any case, she would sleep. But those remarks, they really bother me sometimes, telling her next time you can't, you bring somebody with you. That was sad. Sad. But she loved that kitchen. And Laura and what's his name?
Paul, right? Paul?
Paul. They gave her a very hard time when she decided to take on the kitchen. I felt that, her attention would go away.
But she managed both beautifully for a long time.
Can you imagine with that?
How did she do that? Yeah.
That body working 14 hours a day?
It's amazing. No, something else would carry her, Rita, and that was so obvious, It's her spirit was just so amazing. Yeah. I could go on talking with you about this, but we've really done a lot of on time. So let me bring it back to you a little bit as well, Rita. You worked for many years in the Birla schools, right? And director of their schools for a long time. Am I correct?
No, I was Secretary General of the trust that ran the schools.
Yeah.
25 years, 26
Wow.
years.
That's a long time. And what do you think is your, I believe each individual has something unique to offer the world. It's a gift we all have uniquely, like Roma did. What do you think yours is, and what do you think Roma's was?
Well, Roma's was always trying to help people. Actually, she had a very interesting life before she went for Pondicherry. With the parents and her sister and all. I don't know if she ever told you that.
She did. She told me some.
Yeah. So that was tough. And she loved her smoking. She loved her drinking. She loved her food.
I remember raising many glasses of single malt with her, even when she wasn't well, at least a glass or a little bit of, and we'd do that.
She loved all the good things in life. And even whatever her outfits were towards the end, the trousers and all had to be best quality, had to be best tailor to stitch it. The embroidery on a thing has to be done just so. Food has to be made just so, and then her father had an import license for wines and drinks. As a child, she used to take those little display bottles and drink it up with water, tea water. So she had a taste for alcohol from childhood.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what was single malt. And I would bring her a whiskey and she would say, you should have bought a single malt. I said, please explain to me what it is. You give me a glass of whiskey and I say, it's bitter. I have no palate for it. Wines and drinks and food and pastries and cakes.
Yeah, the works. Yeah.
He loved the good life.
Yes, and
when we watched movies on video, if they first tell me, is this a poor man's movie? I don't want to watch it. I've had enough of being poor. I want to watch a movie of a rich, comfortable family.
So amazing. No, and the thing is that she shared it. It gave her a lot of joy. Yeah, to
Very generous.
yeah,
Very generous.
incredibly generous with her time, her attention, her. It was just amazing.
And I was very rigid in the sense, um, if you said even a white lie, I would get on her case. And sometimes if she would borrow money, I would get on her case. I said, this is not right. I was
Mm,
very rigid. That was my upbringing. And on
mm,
something apart from my upbringing, I think every individual person comes with a personality trait.
sure.
Mine, that I didn't want any kind of fraud or any kind of uh, taking money, borrowing money. I detest it.
Yeah.
Like there would be times when I would find that she borrowed money from someone and we'd have a huge fight. Why do you borrow money? But I'm going to give it. It was just because I didn't have it. No,
Mm,
you're not to do it.
mm,
This kind of little things. So, and I think somewhere she took it to heart because obviously she didn't borrow it for the thrill of it. She
mm,
obviously had the difficulty. But when she went to Oroville, if I told her it's okay, you can debit this to the company, just as
mm,
a joke, she said, no, I'll never do that. She
mm,
just turned a new leaf
mm.
and her integrity was just too much.
Impeccable, impeccable.
Impeccable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Mm.
and her generosity, like that Sam, the
It's
boy who
her,
worked,
her generosity is legendary in
yeah,
Oroville. It's the stuff of Oroville legends, I feel,
yes. Like I was talking to Arjun the other day,
Mm,
Roma, they used to tell me, is she making money? They were very curious.
mm,
I said, she says she's not making money.
mm,
So how can you run a restaurant and not make money? And which is true. I used to tell her, Roma, how can you run a restaurant and not make money?
mm,
Then I said, show me your balance sheet, show me your
mm,
tax thing, show me this, show me that. And then I would make her suggestions like maybe you could raise the prices, maybe you could reduce the portions, all kinds of tips
mm,
to. No, she says, I'm not here to make money. I'm
mm,
here to offer service.
mm,
Anybody falls sick in Oroville, she's sending them food,
mm,
sending them soup, sending them broth, anybody. And if it was a child, then of course, talking about Roma's attachment to children and how soft she was.
mm,
One day coming from Pondicherry, on her motorcycle, she knocked a child down.
mm,
Children on that road,
mhm,
they're all the time running up and down. So she did this.
mm.
Finally, child got hit. Child fell down and started crying, and Roma's crying also. And this whole spectacle. Roma's crying, the child is crying, and then she's giving money to the child's parents to take the child to the hospital. Then, for a month and a half, coming and going, she's meeting this child's
Yeah.
parents,
Mm,
giving them money, giving them medication, giving them food. I said, Roma, you're mad. Now
mm,
it is over. It's not required anymore. They're just making use of it. But that's how she was.
mm.
And
Absolutely. And
Sam, the boy,
so much she did for Oroville. So
yeah,
much, my God.
always, always,
Mm,
always.
mm.
Sam was a little boy.
Yeah, yeah.
She put him to school over here. She found a friend of ours used to run a Montessori house.
Mm,
She put him over there. Then she had an afternoon school. So put him through school. Then he worked around over here. He also learned the passion for cooking. Then came and worked with her
what?
in Oliver.
Yes, of course. And he was very good. He was a great cook.
Very good,
Mm,
very good.
trained by Roma. No? So,
Yeah. And
mm,
what about Shri Ram?
yeah,
He had his accident,
yeah.
and he called her and said that I'm sorry, I've busted your motorcycle, had an accident. She wasn't worried about her motorcycle.
Mm,
She rushed over there, got him in hospital every day, morning, noon, and night. He was
mm.
looking after him. He laid his life for her.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
because
kind of,
that's the kind of loyalty she would bring out in people because she was so genuine in the way that she reached out to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. As you say,
Yeah,
we could talk forever about
we
it.
could talk. We could talk forever. I
Yeah.
know. So tell me, Rita, what about you? What is it that you bring as I mean, you talk so much about Roma, and it's such an integral part of your life. But you as an individual, what do you think? You
Basically, integrity,
yeah,
discipline,
yeah,
passion for the job at hand,
yeah.
everything. I mean, if something has to be done, it has to be done right with full energy. So in my entire career, that is the main thing that all through my life,
Mm,
can't stand to tell lies.
mm.
Everything has to be, you know,
Above
top
board. Mm,
above board.
mm. I
I
understand.
can't deny the the workers their rights.
Mm,
That's why they still miss me. When they don't get what they want, they ring me up. I
mm,
said, then I feel a sense of regret. Why did I leave? I should have seen this through. I
mm,
should have seen that this fellow got confirmed. Then I tell myself, I mean, there's no end to that.
mm,
Everybody's hired by me. Everybody's looked after by me. Or if some of them are being thrown out for some reason, they're all competent. I never hired anybody
mm,
who merits the job.
mm,
Certain things, because of the pandemic, they're not giving them their rights.
mm.
So they come to me. If it was this would have never happened. I said, but when I left, I told you all that change is the only constant.
Mm,
So expect the change,
mm.
embrace the change. You have my sympathies. If there's anything I can do, I will do. But you have to learn to work and live without me.
So would that be a message that you would give out to youngsters who like starting out now, Rita, or in the middle of their careers and life, and looking at the beautiful, checkered, incredible life you've lived, you and Roma? What would you tell them? What would you advise? And if you don't like the word advise, what's your input to?
Well, I think they should I be very conscious
Mm,
of their actions.
mm,
Like I've been saying that to my nieces and nephews, that every action has a reaction, has consequences.
mm,
You must take responsibility for your actions.
mm,
And if you learn to behave in a responsible manner, then you can choose to deal with the consequences thereof. But
absolutely,
otherwise, just doing a job for the sake of the money that it brings you really is not much joy.
absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close out this conversation, Rita?
What can I say? I mean, I don't feel that I've done much in my life. You think my life is incredible, but I think I've just, my mother used to say, why do you give up jobs just when you have established yourself? I once mentioned this to a guru band of my father, Mrs. Hart. I said, my mother says that I give up. She said, that's because in, in your life, you have come here to build. I like to build something and then
Mm,
move away without sitting and resting on my laurels.
wow.
Mm.
I think that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And is
because
that has played out for you? You see that has.
always,
Yeah.
always,
Mm,
every job they required to build something, you know, built it, then I moved on, built it, moved on,
mm,
and without any regrets.
mm,
A lot of people feel that, oh, I have built this and I deserve to be here and I should be here and reap the fruits of my labor. For me, no.
mm.
I think that way, even though I've not read the Gita or any of these scriptures, I believe that you should not look for the fruits.
Results.
You
Mm,
know, do
mm,
your karma,
mm.
maintain your dharma, and sounds very pompous, but
No,
that's how it's worked out for me.
doesn't sound pompous at all because I hardly ever hear you allude to any of this. It's just the present moment, living it, and that's what you embody.
Yeah.
And I think that is so beautiful
Thank you.
and so free, because you've lived your life like a free spirit. You've decided your course. And I think that is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Rita,
Not at
of
all.
spending this time with me and for us to sit and talk about, and for me to listen to more about Roma, because like you, I really miss her. So, yeah.
You have to come and
Yes,
be with
absolutely.
me physically.
Yes, as I said, we definitely, that's very much on my mind. That's a trip I have to make, to come and spend some time with you in Kolkata again.
Yeah, Kolkata or Pondicherry, wherever
Oh, well, yeah.
the divine takes us.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
She
absolutely.
was so fond of you.
And I of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy to see your face, Sheba. Makes me feel like I'm looking at Roma at the background. Roma sitting somewhere.
She is, no? She is right through this. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rita. It's been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Pleasure mine. Pleasure is mine.
Thank
Okay.
you. And take
Bye.
care. Bye.